Hello, Actives family. Welcome to the May Founders Call this evening. This is John McGarry, Vice President of Sales, and I'm joined here by two of the founders of Actives. Ryan Thompson is joining us from sunny California. David Brown, our CEO, is sitting next to me, and I'll excuse Daniel Effington, who just had some work done on a bad tooth. And he's got a little bit of a swollen face and some heavy medication to help him deal with that challenging tooth. But we're gathered here with some great individuals, and I'll turn this call over to the CEO of Actives, Mr. David Brown.
All right, John, it's great to be with you. And Ryan, good to see you on the screen. And it's been a wonderful month, and I'm looking forward to talking more about that and looking forward. We finally have warmed up out here in Utah. Spring has sprung, and things are coming back to life, and that's true for Actives as well. April was a fantastic month. Speaking of a new birth and a rebirth, I became a grandfather again for the fourth time on Easter Sunday, so that was a big deal in the Brown family. And it's interesting when you have times like that, you take stock of yourself and stock of life and the company generally. And you know what? I am overall very happy with where we are at Actives. And I think every day we have tens and hundreds and ultimately thousands of people joining the company, hearing the Actives message for the first time. And it's just amazing to think about what's being accomplished, the differences that are being made in people's lives and what's going on. So those are my early feelings and reflections upon the month of April. How about you, Ryan? What did you think about what's gone on since the last time we spoke?
Well, I like your analogies and talking about weather and April was an amazing month for us. We had some great meetings, great trips. We saw a lot of commitment from people who really dug in. And, as we were all talking about this morning, it was really impressive to see people taking responsibility for their own businesses and not waiting for things to happen. I think probably the best example we saw for that, it was someone who you spoke to a week ago and I was on the phone with this morning. And we had a lot of great successes. I think there's a lot of stories that we could share, but we have to, for the sake of time, probably just talk about one of them. And it was someone who set a goal at the very beginning of the month on a weekly boot camp with me and said, my commitment this month is to get to A10. Now, this guy had just hit A9. And I think it's okay to say his name, Eric Maldonado out of Denver, Colorado. And, and I saw the conviction that he had, and I really believe that he could do it in 1 month. And it was a team goal. So, he set that goal along with his team. His captains and generals all had their own goals. And it was really neat to each week see what that team did. And not only did he hit A10 at the end of this month of April, but they had A8s, A7, a bunch of A6s, tons of A5s and 4s, rank advanced throughout their organization. And for me, that was kind of emblematic of the month of April, because we also had a goal, coming out of March. And I like to talk about this a lot. David, we talk about it in the company that, success doesn't happen on accident. You can really plan for it. You have a business plan, you have goals, and you reverse engineer your long-term goals with your short-term goals. And then you take all out massive action on hitting those short-term goals. And so for me, I've got to applaud Eric out of Denver for his hard work. David, I would love to hear the story that you had about that. You spoke with him about a week ago, and you noticed something that I hadn't noticed. So why don't you share what you shared a minute ago with us?
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, since Eric is a leader of a Spanish group, primarily out of Denver and throughout the United States, and because I don't speak Spanish, I'm not as often in contact with that part of the company as I wish I could be. But Eric speaks great English, and so he's one of the ones that I can speak to, and he understands me most of the time, I think. So he was charging hard for A10, and as I was complimenting him on his hard work and the fact that goal seemed imminently achievable, that he immediately deflected any congratulations from me or praise, and immediately turned it over to his team. and how hard they were working together as a team. And it was especially gratifying because we talk about the Actives family. We even led off with this calling people the Actives family. And it's things like that where people really are locking arms and saying, okay, it's a lot easier to achieve our goals if we're working hard together, as opposed to me just being on an island by myself, trying hard to get mine and good luck getting yours. But when we say, let's collectively move forward and accomplish something, it is a family. And it is a joint effort, and everyone enjoys the fruits of everyone's labors. And that's what clearly came out of my conversation with Eric. And it's a great example. I know he's not the only example of that happening in the company, but it was really gratifying and really wonderful to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't I share a couple of thoughts about what I'm excited about in April, for May, I should say, and then we'll just keep this call going because, the fact is I could not be more excited to be in the month of May now. April gave us some great momentum, and you talked about the growth, David. May, for me, this month, here we are, we're just a couple of days into it. It's the first Monday of the month, which is why we're doing this founders call. But I'm thinking a lot about perspective, the perspective that we bring to what we do each and every day. And that perspective has so much to do with the attitude that we bring, has so much to do with the actions that we take, so much to do with the results we get, and ultimately the lifestyle that we attain. So in the spirit of thinking about perspective, I want to share a couple things with everybody who's watching the Zoom or listening to it tonight or today, depending on when you're watching it. I was on had a conversation early this morning with a team. We're setting goals. We're talking about what they're going to do this week, and really trying to bring in some good accountability and focus on some basic training for this team, for a lot of new people in this team. And I was talking about how in our first year of business, having launched in Mexico, at the end of the year over year, we had about 25,000 people on our books that were using product every month. Of that 25,000, about half of them were distributors, about half of them were customers. And of the distributors, about 60% of them had actually shared it with somebody else. In other words, they were making money. They'd earned a check with us. And in most cases, these were monthly checks, right? Because once a customer uses the product and they continue to use it, we pay we rev share with our promoters each and every month, and we pay weekly. And I was looking at the masses, the thousands of people, roughly 5,000 to 6,000 people that are earning a minimum of about $100, and feeling, okay, well, that may not be a lot of money to write home about, but then the money, the amounts went up from there and to $500, to $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, and even double that in some cases. And at the risk of sounding, coming across as icky and talking about money, because I don't like to ever come across as icky, and that's something where we need to change our perspective, because the way we're going to become this multi-billion-dollar company and really take this scientifically validated technology to all corners of the world is by making sure that we have a real viable business platform to do this. So our loyal promoters, really, it's important for them to rev share with us and to set earning goals with them. So where I'm going with this, in the spirit of talking about perspective, I was comparing that with other more mainstream ways of making money. And so I'm looking at the average percent, the annual percent yield on the average mutual fund in the U.S. I was also looking at what's a money market pay these days. The average return on a mutual fund is about 7.5%. The highest this last year was just over 8%. So let me give some perspective. On $10,000 at a 7.5% yield, that's $750 for the year, which is $62.50 a month. Pause. Why that's relevant is because of all of our distributors who have joined us, who have shared it with one or two or three customers, most of them, and by most I mean call it 5,000 to 6,000 people, are making over the average yield on the average mutual fund, meaning they're making at least $100 a month. Now this is residual income. So everything in life is perspective, right? Some things have good stigma, have negative stigmas. Other things are more mainstream and more favorably viewed. But I can tell you that for those of you who are involved in actives, I want you to really pay close attention to this. There's really no one waiting at the end of the road to take care of you. It's not the government that's gonna help retire you. Our 401ks will rarely materialize in such a way that we're gonna enjoy a lifestyle that we dream about. You've got to take responsibility for your future right now. This is something that, David, I know you're passionate about this. John, I know you're passionate about it. Most everybody in our company is passionate about this topic. I'm extremely passionate about this. I love the fact that we are helping people create retirement for themselves. And they're doing that by using life-changing products, sharing them with people they care about. They're doing a lot of good in the world. And frankly, they're getting a higher return on their efforts than what they would get if they were putting their money into the average and even the highest yielding mutual fund out there. Forget money markets. The best money market I can find is 2.7%, which is, we're talking $22 a month on $10,000 investment. So if it's about getting an ROI on your, not just your money, but on your time and your effort, my challenge to everybody listening to this is make sure that May becomes a banner month for you. I would love for everybody listening to this, really sets May apart and says, you know what, May will become the defining month of my business. What I do this month of May will go to define the rest of my business. Why do I say that? Because we haven't launched yet in the US. We're launching in June. Why not sprint to the end, sprint to the goal line? Make it happen. If you've never done it before, do it right now so that showing up to that ribbon cutting or that launch event in Salt Lake City, you can show up with your team and say, you know what, I left it all on the field. And what I did last month is going to define the rest of my business for the next 5, 10, 20 years. I will be able to go back and tell the story of what me and my team did in the month of May. And again, it has everything to do with having the right perspective. Understand that what you're doing, the seeds you're planting will bear fruit down the road. They'll yield you a greater return on your investment in terms of passive residual income than you're going to find anywhere else. We've designed our RevShare program in such a way to make sure that is possible. And I would challenge anybody to review it in detail and test me on that. So anyways, before I get out of hand here and just preach all day long, David, how about I turn the time back to you? What are you excited about, May?
Well, I think that's a very important point to make. We talk a lot about products, and we're very pleased and proud of the products, and we realize that we distinguish ourselves from the vast majority of companies in any channel when it comes to nutritional supplements by the uniqueness, by the benefits, and by the science related to all of our products. In fact, just today, I was talking with Dr. Rish Patel, whom all of you are going to have a chance to listen to on the advisory board calls coming up in just a couple of weeks, where we will introduce him and he'll have a chance to talk about his medical background. And then he's going to talk in a little bit more detail, but without totally raising the curtain on product X about why he's so excited about it. I'll take a little bit of his thunder to let you know that he's actually taking the product and seeing great benefits. In fact, he takes all of our products, and that's something that I'm not sure every other company's advisory board, if you really pinned them down and asked them, are you taking the company's products, that they would say, yes, every day, and I give them to my family. But I can tell you unequivocally that ours does. In fact, Richard Jones, who's on our advisory board, as I was gone most of the last 2 weeks traveling, kept texting me, I'm out of my magic pills. I'm out of my magic pills. And while we probably won't call them magic pills, I don't mind if he does or any of you do, because some of the benefits that we see seem to be a little magical, although it's all grounded in science. But I do think that one of the products that we don't talk nearly enough about is the product of financial health, financial freedom, the ability to really make a difference in your life. We are affiliating with a company that is selling franchises to veterans, and it's a junk hauling franchise. And it's as far as franchises go, it's not super expensive, although it's more expensive. It's pretty expensive to the average person. It's $30,000, and then they have to go out. They have to find people who want to have their junk hauled away. Then there's costs associated with fuel and labor and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a while for them to get a return on their investment. And believe me, they're going to like Product X, because those guys get sore hauling all that junk, and now you kind of see the connection with what we're going to be doing with them. And yet, with actives, you have the opportunity to have products that you really believe in, that you really know you need to share with other people, and have income for your family, not just now, but going forward. And as long as we're talking about May, you often hear me talking about growing up on a ranch, and we had about a half an acre garden. It was a big garden, all right? I hated that garden this time of year, okay? Actually, this time of year, I liked it. Planting the seeds and all that kind of stuff was great. And I liked it in the fall when we got the produce. In between time, I hated it because that meant that there was hoeing and weeding and watering and all kinds of stuff that was humdrum, stuff that had to be done every single day to ensure that we had a yield a few months from now. And I think that, you know, it might seem like a tired cliche, but what we're doing right now is planting seeds. And the everyday care of following up with a person that you introduced the company to. Following up and saying, hey, have you tried Link yet? Have you tried Amora yet? What have you done? Have you reached out to your people? That's the weeding, that's the mundane, the tough thing to think, man, is this ever going to yield any type of result? But the answer is absolutely. Because just like you see those, you'll see some evidences. You'll see your weekly check, your monthly check starting to grow, just like those little shoots start poking through the soil. And then that gives you some confidence, just like it did me as a kid, saying, hey, wait, something's actually growing here. This is actually kind of cool. I still don't like weeding. I still don't like hoeing, but at least I'm seeing a little bit of the fruits of my labors, culminating ultimately in things I really did like. I love fresh peas. I love fresh beans. I love being able to see zucchini until those zucchini grow and take over the world. But other than that, it's really great. And I can see that that's something that people, I think sometimes when our early efforts are not rewarded very much, it's very easy to get depressed and discouraged. But if we really think about it, whether it's planting a garden, whether it's trying to lose weight, whether it's raising children, whether it's anything, rarely are our initial efforts immediately rewarded in a way that's as gratifying and as fulfilling to us as we ultimately would like them to be. And I can promise everyone, in fact, I think all of us here can, because we've seen it and we're seeing it, that people are indeed having success. They are indeed changing lives. I was on the phone with Kurt Heisey the other day. He wanted me to participate on a three-way call with someone that he was recruiting. And during the course of that call, I mentioned Product X. And I said, by the way, have you taken that, Kurt? And immediately upon the words that just barely escaped my mouth, when he jumped on and couldn't wait to start talking about the tremendous results that not only he but his wife were getting on Product X. On the other hand, we were talking about it in a business context because the benefits of those products are wonderful, but we didn't start this company as a nonprofit. We don't expect you to be a nonprofit. We want to make money. We want to reduce stress and inflammation that not only comes from injury and lifestyle, but also comes from not having enough money in your life and not being able to provide for yourself and your family the way you want to. And that's a big part of our goal and our aim here at Actives.
Excellent. Yeah, and I love the thoughts. Sounds like we're on the same page, David, as always. I think, John, before we throw this back to you, I want to let everyone know, if you're listening to the first time, we do this every month. It's important that you plug in with us. Just listening to David talk, it really reminds me that we're looking for people who share our vision. There's a lot of people that are joining Actives that are using the products, that are getting involved at some level. But when I talk about people that share our vision, I really mean people that share the vision of doing what David just described, making sure that we can increase not just health and wellness for people, but also help cure some of those financial ills that people have. This is a big vision, a big part of our vision here at Actives. And so all that said, if we can do anything to support you, please let us know. And having said that, I want to make sure that everybody listening to this call knows that they are invited to join us every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific time for our weekly update call. We've been holding this call since we began pre-launch of the United States. And it's just so important that you get on that call, you stay plugged in, because if you're interested in this for more than just a hobby, but you really are interested in increasing your what comes into your house in terms of income, get on that call, because we share best practices. We hear from the top earners in the company. We update you each and every week on the latest developments of the company. So make sure that you're inviting your whole team to that call. And in Spanish, we do it Thursday afternoon, and you can see the details for these calls on activescalendar.com. The fact is, guys, is we have not yet launched. Getting involved early, plugging in, running your tail off, not walking, but running to pre-build your organization before we launch makes a big difference in the long-term success. So you've got 1 month to do that. Let May be that month. I mean, May is that month, whether you let it or not. May is going to be that month. So run hard, set goals, and then tell us about it. Tell us how your May was. We want to hear. So show up to Salt Lake and come say, look, I listened to the Founders Call. I listened to your challenge. I set goals for May. This is what I did, and I can already see that it's going to make all the difference in the trajectory of my business. So, for me, David, that's really all I got. I can't wait to just get in and just start working, and we're going to run fast and hard, and we're going to blink, and next thing we know, we're going to be in Salt Lake City at our ribbon cutting, or I guess I should say at our launch event, right, John, in Salt Lake. Everybody, focus on qualifying for the promotion. We don't do promotions because we don't have anything else to do. We've got, I really think it's the first 100 people that qualify in the U.S. for our the enrolling 3 new business partners and getting it getting this product X, which we haven't announced yet its name. Don't you want to try this product before we launch it, so that we can take your story, get a video on it, and start sharing it with people, and so your team can see, oh, you're one of the first people to ever use this product. Man, how did you do that? Well, I qualified for this promotion. So set a goal to qualify the promotion, not at the end of the month. Do it right now. This is the first week of the month. Do it in the next 48 hours, and we will send you these products, okay? Have that be part of your story. The most powerful tool you will ever have as you build your actives business is your own personal story. So, John, I know you're going to say more about that, but that's my challenge and my invitation that I'd like to issue. I can't wait to see everybody. See you in Salt Lake City, and we'll see you at the top. And David, any closing words from you?
Yeah, before we turn it over to John to provide a little bit more detail, I just want to just talk a little about a couple more exciting things coming up. In 2 weeks, I'm headed to Japan, where we're going to be having an event there. Dr. Brett Earl is going to accompany me. You might say, well, that's great. How does that affect me? Well, you might know that one of the distinguishing features of our business plan is that at the level of A6, you start participating in global pools. And that's probably the lowest level in the entire industry, at which you can start benefiting not only from your own efforts, but from the efforts of people throughout the rest of the United States, in Mexico, in Japan, soon in Peru and other countries that we're going to be going to. And so that's pretty exciting stuff. So, so that's something to take into account. Coming up in Salt Lake, we're going to be, I think you should do whatever you can to get there. Dr. Joe Maroon is going to be coming and speaking. Dr. Brett Earl will be there. Dr. Rish Patel will be there. You'll be hearing things from other members of our advisory board, really exciting stuff, who are going to tell you that they joined this company not because they didn't have any other opportunities in life, because they had a lot of opportunities. Not because we're paying them tons of money, because we're not paying them tons of money, but because they believe in the science, they believe in our vision, and they think that they want to be part of something that's going to be tremendously big, powerful, and fill the whole world. And so we're all part of that, one person at a time. So in a play on the word May, for the month of May, if you're asking yourself, do I need permission? May I have better health this month? Yes. May I make more money this month? Yes. May I go to Salt Lake and go to the event? Yes. All right. And now just go for it. And we'll see you there. I'm excited to see all of you. This is, like Ryan, like all of us, it's so hard not to talk about actives, to talk about the products, and not just get extremely revved up. And so I'm excited about that, about what we've accomplished, but I know we ain't seen nothing yet. So good luck with everybody. Have a great month of May, and we'll turn it to you.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to share a personal story here from the month of April. I took my family, it was spring break here in Utah, and I took my family on a quick little camping trip into southern Utah. And I was there with my family, gathered around the campfire, but the campfire wouldn't start because the wood was all wet. And we had wet wood, we couldn't get it started, so I did what every good Boy Scout does. I went to the jug of gasoline and I poured a little fuel on the fire. And the flames leapt up and the fire burned brightly, and we had a fantastic campfire. We roasted marshmallows over the fire. Well, that applies to actives today. We had a fantastic month of April, and we thought about it. We talked about it as a management team. We talked about what can we do to put fuel on the fire. And we focused on May. May is a huge month, and we said, what can we do to add some fuel to the fire? And I think we've done it. So here we are. We've got 3 amazing promotions that are happening in the month of May. If you haven't already adjusted your auto ship to the 5th, the 10th, or the 15th to receive free shipping, do it. Take advantage of this. That free shipping is awesome. It may not last forever, so take advantage of it right now while we have that. Change your auto ship to the 5th, the 10th, or 15th and get free shipping. As Ryan mentioned, we have launched a new promotion in the month of May where if you enroll 3 individuals on any of our packs, any of our enrollment packs, you're going to earn in the U.S. 2 bottles of Link and, yes, a bottle of Product X. You want this. You've heard some stories already about this. Take advantage of this. In Mexico, they'll earn 2 Genomics and a bottle of Product X. But almost as important, as Ryan mentioned, you'll be part of our user study. You'll have an opportunity to do some things that other individuals will not be able to do in terms of collecting some data and collecting some information and really being part of partnering with the company. So take advantage of that. Enroll 3 people. And as Ryan said, do it this week. Do it in the next 48 hours. I love that. Take advantage of it. The other thing is we have an Amora promotion. People are having amazing results using our skincare line of products. We've got a special promotion for Mother's Day. It's going to run until we run out of these supplies. By purchasing the entire Amora kit, the serum, the toner, and the mud, when you purchase all 3 of those together, you're going to receive this amazing travel bag, embroidered travel bag with Amora. You'll also receive this amazing headband for all of us to keep the hair out, keep your hair off your face while you're using these amazing products. So take advantage of that, purchase the entire Amora skincare line, enroll your 3 individuals, and change your auto ship to one of the next auto ships over the next couple of days. With that said, thank you guys for being a part of Actives. If you're not yet a part of Actives, get with the person that invited you to listen to this call. Take advantage, lock arms, join us, and we'll see you at the top. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, John. Thanks, David.
See ya.